welcome to the Secret Gallery. My name is Mickey, and we are here for our first ever poetry reading. And we're excited that today's poetry reading and event features queer poets and queer poetry. And our next special guest that I am so happy to introduce is a longtime friend and member of my community, Eliza Beth, and they are actually touring here from Denver and visiting several venues along the West Coast and sharing their book of published work. And the book is actually for sale today here at the Secret Gallery for $15. And Eliza is going to be also reading at, what's the name of it?
Third Place Books.
Third Place Books in Seattle on September 5th. And it's sort of great to host Eliza here in Astoria, my new home, and to have them come and share some of their work with us. So please join me in welcoming Eliza.
Well, thank you, everyone. This is really nice. That was really fun. So given the sexy intro that we had, this is one. Given that, I'll start with, I think it's the first poem in the book, and I remember putting it in the beginning because, put the sexy stuff first. When my to-be editor was reading it, was super happy that there was heresy in the first verse. So it's blasphemous and sexy, and it's called Idolatry. The jolly head of Buddha is nestled between my voluptuous breasts. With the hand that drove the last nail, I'm giving Jesus a hand job as I give my oral homage to Krishna. Green goddess Gaia is licking my clit. Yamaya directs the scene obscene. In the scene I have given my worship to idolatry. I have successfully seduced Thor, ripe with battle lust. I have bedded Athena. We spoke of man, mind, trust, and lust. I am the sprite that said all right to Pan. That wickedly charming goat-flautist man. And that same sprite that plucked the fairy's cherry. I have perverted my prostrations and fucked out the brains of hesitation. I have screamed ecstatic revelry into the ears of now nameless gods and goddesses. I have hymned into the hymen of now, and still they are unbroken. Still, somehow I have yet to offend the gods with my lustful sacraments, and the goddesses only pulled me deeper. The holy trinity of God, goddess, and I have hog-tied dogma and branded it dirty. So I'll just, from that, move straight into some BDSM. This one's called Treat Me Like You Treat the Earth. I want you to stake me, claim me, stick your drill deep into me, horizontally frack me. Spew your poisoned water into me. Spill my deepest lubricant upon me and then call me ugly. I want you to mine me, explode all over me, mushroom cloud my heads with ideas of decency. Strip me of every native plant, tree, and species, pave over me, call me pretty. I want you to plow me, plant me, poison, monoculture, and enslave me, steal my young before they've gone to seed. I want you to buy me, sell me, poison me, lease me, fraction me, allocate me, divide, and conquer me. They'll suddenly understand the past 2,000 years of humanity. Mother Earth is simply playing out a rape fantasy. How are we feeling? I did not make a set list. This one's called Ancestors. forgive me. I treat you like the answers of medical paperwork: white, history of heart problems, diabetes, skin cancer, ancestors. Forgive me. I know none of your stories, no oral history to guide me. I treat your dramas as embarrassing gossip, as a sitcom on TV. Ancestors, forgive me. I do not draw upon you for strength. I do not approach you for counsel. I do not seek your wisdom for fear. You have none. I've been shown the white bones beneath my feet. For black and brown bodies, I am horrified. Indian salt, Cuban sugarcane, a gluttonous body of history buried. No wonder we have heart problems. Ancestors, forgive me. I am ashamed of you. Sangre de conquistadores runs through my veins. British, Spanish, German, Portuguese. I did not dig much deeper. The ground was still too full of so many shallow mass graves. Ancestors, forgive me. I do not know how to undo what you've done, nor do I know who you were. Were you the captain or the sailor, the generals or the money holders, the priest or the teacher? Were you, in short, the villain or the accomplice? Forgive me. I do not know. My shame is such I could not meet your eyes, feeling I had nothing to learn from you. I forgot the druids, my runes, my roots, my languages, my sacrifices, my herbs, my magic, my midwives and tree teachers chopped down and burned, long buried beneath Roman stone, concrete and bone. I see how history repeats itself. Ancestors, guide me. How do I evolve as we revolve around ancient, all-remembering stars? Who am I? How do I relate to brothers and sisters beyond my own sunburnt race? Ancestors, teach me how to see these genocides with open, tearful eyes, to witness the weaponization of poverty and property, of mass incarceration, the crime of addiction, for the crime of addiction, community severing slavery, institutionalized inequity. Ancestors, guide me in giving myself the gift of knowing I am more than your legacy. My morality is decided by deeds, actions, and inactions. Ancestors, guide me in learning to love myself enough to walk tall and proud while wearing the weighty burden of my people's history. Bending gluttonous laws, righteously clutching to let shoes dream of yesteryear, we suck the hard nipples of mother consumerism. Fueled by imagined wealth, hungrily licking the carbonated sugar off our painted fingers, filthy with the festering wounds of self-hatred. Boredom brings sweet symphonies larking into the lit attics of my mind, musty with books and paper, renewed by foul breezes, caught sweet, swimming with life, whispering of beauty. Sensing urgency in the air, we wait to see what will appear whilst senses dulled with practice and ignorance taught as knowledge struggle to comprehend the mighty distance between themselves and bliss. While bright brutes of thought wander mindlessly through this glossy library of mighty memory, masonry, fusing story with fancy which seems the more really real. In our deep wells of self-pity, sip bitterly that rancid tea, whilst neo-demigod-clad clogs play tricks with currency behind digital webbing and wilting safes of thinning money, hoarding the earth's beautiful, shining things, golden chains, diamond rings, trinkets that mean nothing but the bodies of those unlucky dying, trying to achieve a white man's wage. I turn the page of my kaleidoscope imagination, past the heartache and degradation, skimming the wars of the ages, puzzling the simplicity of the sages, ruling out the searing consequences of mistaken identity as archetype splits through my mind's vibrant eye, yet still clinging to the messy mess of my library. Theories fly, but transcending. Since, as I know it, I feel what is not felt by those who would ignore it, and I know to what depths one can venture sadness. But the buoyancy of my bosom lifts me ever up. I rise above to look down at a world with a long way to go, and I sigh, for I know I still have lives in which to heal it. Uttering utopia with every breath, I walk amongst the mortals, I talk amongst the trees, seeking the soulful shaman, the intelligent Brahmin, licking the salty soul of Brahman with open tongues and dilated pupils, screaming silent passion through smoky lungs and breathing onto calloused fingers all that we remember. So I take a gulp of soiled air, filter it, and breathe out hope. Alright. I wrote this one in the Sylvia Plath phase. The Messiah. Loosely cloaked in shades of regret, she shakily lights her cigarette, coughs loudly up the phlegm of death with dry and calloused lungs. That morning the harbinger was expected, but Gabriel was far from rested. The divine herald laughed and downed with Joan of Arc. They drank mulled wine, and for her he felt a spark in the cavernous chambers of his angel heart, and thus failed to faithfully impart his holy omen to the lowly human, hacking hatred below alone. God sucks the thumb of genocide. These days he hardly goes outside. The world is cruel. She prefers to hide inside their cloud-colored tent. Jesus attempted suicide, but just came back again alive. Grown sick of what was done in his name, he came back as a hurricane, and none of the angels speak of it. But they have long since ceased to care to what happens to the world down there. God no longer rages at anyone, so they sit back and soak in the sun. Meanwhile, down below, God's promise rocks naked in the bathroom alone, aborting the Messiah. All right, I'll bring it up a notch. This one is a love poem for actually the artist who do the cover, called Desert Woman. I know a woman, desert tan, more carpentry skills than the average man, built her home with clay, straw, wood scraps, and sand, lives under wide skies in a hostile land. She is soft as chalk pastel, hardened, cracked as dry clay, colorful as desert sunsets, bright as summer's desert day. She stands out in a crowd, if you ever found her there. Homemade necklaces and tattoos, colored scarf tied in hennaed hair. Eyes are liquid, movements air, quieter than average, a laugh so loud people stare. Georgia O'Keeffe contemplative, Frida Kahlo strong, her sleep is deep and her days are long, casually confident, unabashedly curious, 2 parts straightforward and 1 part mysterious. Her mistress is a mother and gardener, a sensual artist, a patient lover, a seeker of water, singer and writer, a lover of sky, lover of green. They send each other sweet words and birds' wings. My lover of desert, sweet sun and wide sky, surrounded by mountains, Mount Blanca most high. She is my sweetgrass eye, her wild wind blowing in before parting again. Such soft longing, such meaningful moments, nutritious meals and soft woven blankets. We gaze graciously into unthinkable stars, whether or not we're in each other's arms. How much time do we have? I don't know how long this reading is.
As much time as you like.
Okay. Since it's kind of a queer thing, I'll read more queer shit. I feel weird about this one, so I've kind of come in more into myself as gender fluid and gender queer in the last couple of years, and it's been really liberating. But I wrote this about like, you know, when I make out with women in front of people opposed to like when I make out with men in front of people, or at least like how people perceive those two things. And so this one's called Quiet Kiss. It's silly. I suppose I don't look like someone who is into women. Why else would men hoot and holler when I kiss one, invite themselves into entirely invented threesomes? Clearly, I'm lacking. We are lacking your cock, your talk, patriarchal protection, your sexist defense. I was just joking. Never, of all the men I've kissed, has a friend or stranger invited themselves in like this. Male machismo, bravado, piss-poor, pornographic penetration into our kiss and conversation, believes they deserve at least some of the attention of what is being got and given by the women in the room. Even on a street corner or bus stop, some happy stranger generously offers his cock. Forgive the men, they know not what they do. They've been conditioned to see two women this way. So let me inform the men of the 21st century. If we want you, we will ask. And if you're a straight cis man, don't tell us that's hot. We know we're fine. That's why we're making out with each other. Smile if you must, but move on your merry way. I don't know what kind of doughy-eyed porn you're into, but it doesn't work that way. And especially if you're a homophobic fuck and the look of two men kissing cuddle your fucking turns your stomach, pulls the mouth into disgust, then listen carefully. You better not be turned on by me. Best not ask for our company by that unprejudiced logic. We should make you queasy. I want you to be sick. I hope the sight of our small hands entwined in each other's hair unnerves you. I hope the idea of our wet, bloody pussies rubbing together in ecstasy disturbs you. Do me a favor, go away. Either assimilate into a world that is queer as fuck or fuck off, but to you, my dear friend who claim thyself feminist, you expect me to take your comments as just friend. You're better than this double standard. When I kissed my child's father, you were silent. When I kiss my woman friend, you're all gyrations and invitations, and walking in, at least be consistent and shut up. We don't need validation with your college humor, don't need your cockiness. Just relax, enjoy the beauty of a quiet kiss. Okay, so one thing I've noticed a lot in every city I've been to is just the rampant gentrification and just like communities that don't feel like communities, and that's happening hardcore in Denver right now, so I wrote a poem about it. It's called Invasive Species. I'm walking, as I am prone to do when my heart is heavy, around the pond of City Park. I did not wear my running shoes today. Today is a day of self-honesty, and honestly, I've never been very fast. Never been too quick to grasp what is right in front of me. Silver maple, Kentucky bluegrass, Canadian geese. I reflect on invasive species of which I am the great-great-grand seed. Once communities of color had cookouts here to the soundtrack of music punctuated by laughter. The quiet, chill wind blows, and I drift round the pond with other invasive species in sports gear. There is no question, I am an invasive species. White artists attending community meetings on gentrification while colonial developers deepen their pockets with pockets of communities crumbling under the weight of being rent-burdened and trendy. Can I even blame these migrant seeds, seeking solace from southern hospitality's harsh rays, coded hate speech Midwestern soil, the tomato cage of gender conformity, economic stagnation, Walmart and cable TV, I came to, seeking solace in this queen city of the plains, crystalline capitalism backdropped by snowy peaks, postcard perfect. Once bison roamed here. I see their ghosts in cloud shadows dotting the plain, land of the Ute, Arapaho, Cheyenne, Apache, Diné. I see their ghosts on national park signs and Baker's street names. Each new leaf I turn of history, each voice and name and story that is new to me both fertilizes and poisons me. Can I occupy a space without disturbing ecosystems? No, not at all. But if I am to be an invasive species, let me at least be a medicinal weed. No, not the kind my state has been known for, the kind that petrochemical industries make a killing off of, the kind of weed suburbia fears. I am adaptable, hardy and healing. I may make an astringent tea, but I am medicine to those in need. My leaves make a bitter salad, but I offer them as sustenance to the hungry. My taproot has already rooted deep in this concrete, despite my flighty thoughts. I've already made the soil my home. Fucking weeds. There's no pulling me now. I show my obnoxiously bright face in the first week of spring, all wide-brim hat and hips, humming and gardening like I rent the goddamn place. My political pollen is a little strong to those conditioned to sterile environments. I will be sure to feed what is left of the bees nonetheless. I challenge these homogeneous watered lawns, green with their envy. I bloom in alleyways like art. In a city obsessed with gray boxes, I vow to be a medicinal herb. It may not be the plant that nature intended, but if you look closely, I'm here to feed, just the same. Okay, I opened to this one, and I've only read this one twice out loud. It's very much not like poetic, I think. It's more of a rant and a chronicle of trauma, and so excuse yourself if you need to, but I wrote it, so I'm going to read it. It's called Why I Didn't Report. I was 7 and he was 17. I didn't have the vocabulary for what was being done to me. I mean, I knew that privates were private, but mine had ceased to be, and I was filled with shame and fear and because I was 18, because he was my boyfriend, I'd lost my virginity to him. He told me that was significant. Coercion wasn't a concept I was familiar with because I was drunk, because we lived together now, because he said he thought I was awake, which I'd stopped believing the 4th time that week, but let him finish because I was exhausted. I was so exhausted. All the women in me are exhausted. Because my more immediate concerns were, would I live and how would I pay for the abortion? Let's be real, abortions, because I was high and was always high when it was still illegal, he kept me so high. I was drinking underage, of course he bought it, and I didn't say no every time, because I went back after the breakup. My friend's couch had bug bugs, and I didn't want to sleep outside in winter or with strange men who gave me coke and whiskey and licked their lips. Better the devil you know, right? Because he said I was being unfair. I'm not thinking clearly. After the pregnancy, when I'm tired, when I'm high, he would never do what I was accusing him of. I was projecting my childhood trauma onto him. Because I wasn't familiar with the term gaslighting, despite my Sylvia Plath fantasies. Because I didn't think a journal entry was sufficient evidence. Because, to be fair, that one time I did ask him to choke me. I couldn't have said no when I couldn't breathe. My purple face and rolling eyes must have just looked like I was just really, really into it. Because there are days missing from me after that. Because the sweet nothings in my ear would don't act like you don't love it. Because I was a slut. My ass was bleeding and hurt and I didn't want to talk about it. I'd just stay home, lose my job again. He'd pay my rent. He asked if he could piss in me, and in horror I said no, and he held me by the shoulders and looking in my eyes did it anyway. Because I was toilet, because he laughed as I screamed and cried, because rape joke, because another abortion, because I wanted to die or forget about it, because I shared a wall with our landlord for 3 years and he never said a goddamn thing. Because I cheated on him, because this was my punishment, slut, I was drunk again, sloppy, because I did yoga in the living room in my underwear, clearly I was asking for it, because he kept me high and drunk and it was easier to forgive that way, because when I tried to tell my friends, they told me they were into kinky shit too. I should have had a code word, no had lost all meaning. Because I had a fucked up sense of karma, because I learned what a rape kit was when I was 23 and broke up with him for the last time when I was 22. I didn't report because she was trans and didn't need more problems from society. She probably didn't mean it. To be fair, she did apologize years later. bookended by how oppressed and targeted she was. Because she was black and the room full of people said I looked like I was really into it, I probably was. Slut. It was a party. She just didn't realize how drunk I was. Women can't rape women, right? I didn't report because he was my husband, and our child was asleep breastfeeding on the bed next to me, and I didn't want to wake him because it'd been so long since he touched me. I should just take what I can get, right? I loved him. I trusted him because joint bank account, because poverty, because what's the point? I blamed myself and knew I'd be blamed because rape culture, because ick, because I didn't realize how these seeds of trauma would pop like popcorn at the slightest trigger for years to come. Didn't realize how much it would derail my life. I was trying to survive. I had laundry to do and rent to pay. Because I was busy raising a child. I was busy writing poetry. I wasn't thinking of others that would come after me, or police reports, or courtrooms, and of course I wasn't afraid. And honestly, with less than 1% of perpetrators sentenced, how would that have even helped me or anyone as much as confessional poetry? Thank you all. I'll leave you with a couple kinder ones. All right. Tree people prayer. Tree people, teach me your ways. Teach me to root into whatever rocky soil I find myself in. Teach me to make room for my brothers and sisters, to aim for the light between my elders. Show me that these unfinished projects, these failed loves, these dead tree limbs, do not detract from my purpose or beauty. Teach me the shameless beauty in gnarled limbs, bent spine, trunk leaning into light. You and I both know some bears will use us only to sharpen their claws. Some men will see us only as playthings, good only for our hatchet wounds. Teach me the healing way of your weeping sap, your hardened scars, your thick skin. Oh, tree people, thank you. I think I know now what I must do. I must grow, burn when I need to, and die in my time. For now, teach me to breathe in the sun and rise. Thank you all so much.